Welcome everyone to stream number 2. I think we are actually live this time as well. We'll just give it a couple of minutes, see if anyone else is going to join before we jump in and show the clan boss team in action and do a little bit of maybe a bit of tag team. Still got a few battles to do there, so maybe we'll do one of those first as other people join. And we don't have necessarily the world's best arena teams here on our side. We are definitely fighting some slightly trickier battles, but we'll try and find some that look winnable, and that's generally the way I'm gonna have to play it. Maybe here we can probably beat 2 and 3. I'll probably use the Gembo against the Man-Eater, and I'll use my main arena team with the control from Skaramis against their team 2, and I think we'll just lose we'll just lose the first fight most likely. So I'll start that on auto. If we need to intervene, we can do, but I don't think to. Need to pull a Cardinal. Yeah. Cardinal would definitely make it easier. Couple of people in Stone Skin here, but they can kill themselves. I want to get rid of Syl first off. Should be able to get that done pretty easily. There we go. Syl is down. Next up, let's go for the Ronda. We are taking quite a bit more damage, but we should still manage to win this. I think, yeah, Ronda's down. You see, like it does kind of work. It's an odd looking team. We just need to get the Ultimate Death Knight down now, which is not necessarily that straightforward, but I think we'll be okay. I think it's in a regen set, so hopefully we can start to do a bit more damage now. I could stream tag team on the main sometimes. I had thought about that as an option. I need to finish like re-gearing so many champions on the main account. I think this actually we're looking a little bit sketchy. Let's take it off manual, see if we can, or take it off auto rather. Put it back on auto. We lack a little bit of damage here for the regen Ultimate Death Knight. Negative affinity across the board. But yeah, there we go. We got the job done. We knew we'd lose fight 1, so that's not so bad. But we should be okay to win fight 3 as well. There we go. So 2 out of 3. That's what we expected. It is what we expected, and that's I think that's fine. You don't need to win 3 out of 3 every time. If we look at the attack log, most of the time picking up 2 or 3 wins. Occasionally we will lose. And then on defense, we don't have the strongest defense, but we are managing to get some wins here and there. Again, if we look at the actual defense team, it's the same, pretty much the same teams we use in the offense, although I am using the Deacon there to make it a little bit harder to determine what the speeds are of the various teams. And Gembo's a bit squishy, so I don't actually use him on the defense. So that's like at least a way of just making it more difficult for people to know what my teams are and how they're built. And that's kind of how I do it. Again, if we try and do this, we're definitely going to lose fight 1. I don't believe my speed team will be faster than their speed team. I generally have that belief across the board, and I don't really have a go second team at the moment. Something I definitely want to address at some point, but it's not a high priority. And I think we'll probably win the speed race in fight 3, and I think we should be okay in fight 2 again with our control team. So I think we can do the exact same team setup and see how it goes. And then I think we'll jump in and do the clan boss team. Might as well just skip fight 1. We knew we were going to lose it. And we should get the shield and increase attack. Pop buffs, get the control out from Skaramis. Then, pretty straightforward. That won't kill us from Skullcrown, even if there were some buffs that stayed on. We have 2 ways of kind of reducing the buff duration. A little bit more damage than we'd like to see on us there. I think we'll still just scrape through. Okay. So you can see, like, we just managed to do what's required in tag team. Now on the clan boss side, I actually had a bit of a hiccup earlier, and that's that I took my eye off it. So we only got 31.92 million because I didn't do the manual part where I used Elijah's A3 on AoE 2, which I need to do like from turn count 25 onwards. I was just busy doing some admin on my computer, like a bit of real life admin, and I looked back, I was like, we must be getting near to the turn count where I need to start intervening, and the battle had already finished. I was like, oh no. So the question is, what do people want to see? Do they want to see us go against Ultra Nightmare, or do they want me to try and see what kind of score we can get against Nightmare? Have a little think and let me know in the comments, or in the chat rather, which you would prefer to see. And then in the meantime, I'll go through and show the builds as they are. So Razelvarg in Stalwart with double perception, 244 speed. The reason for that speed was that I needed 243 as a minimum to make the same speed tune work for Ultra Nightmare, Nightmare and Brutal. I found Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare worked slightly slower, like 240 was sufficient, but if I wanted it to work on Brutal as well, I needed 243 or higher. Masteries, we're still in this situation. We've still got 2 more unspent Masteries. You know, I might end up taking Evil Eye at some point. I don't know. I haven't really decided what will actually be most beneficial, but we'll come to that in the future as we use him. Things like, I will be using him in Griffin for the time being, so I don't want Evil Eye there. I potentially might have to use him in Bommel, I don't know. And again, I don't want Evil Eye there. So that's why I kind of leave these Masteries unselected. Unless we know we need a certain Mastery, I prefer not to spend the points and brick the build and then have to use a reset. We only get 1 reset for free, and then obviously it's gems thereafter. Rhonda has been rebuilt. We can actually have we can invest a little bit in the old glyphs. See if we can get a little bit more damage out. Don't want to use too much HP, to be honest, because she is the stun target. Nothing really can be glyphed there. We got any other attack? Attack, no HP. Don't care about the HP. Any other attack nodes to be glyphed? This ring does need to be improved at some point. I'm not wasting glyphs really on it, but we can maybe just use a low level attack glyph. Obviously, roll the 1%. That's always the way it goes, right, with glyphs. And we've probably got an attack node here as well. So at least we can just get a little bit more damage out for this test. No attack there. And then in terms of, well, she's not booked yet, so the skills aren't done, but in terms of stats, 169, that's the exact speed we want for this to work. I think when I checked, if she's any slower, it won't work on Brutal again, and she can't be any faster, so it's really a narrow speed range for Rhonda. I did take a bit of accuracy out of her build. It's enough to work on Clan Boss with the Brimstone because of Razelvarg's increased accuracy, but it doesn't work in other content unless I run alongside with Razelvarg. But I have Brogni with Brimstone. I'm not really relying on Rhonda to take down any other bosses in any other content, so I'm not that bothered. As for why I'm running War Master on Bunny, yes, it's because of the A2 and A3. Because they're single hits, so each cycle we've got a triple hit, a 1 and 2 single hits. The average hit per ability isn't high enough to make Giant Slayer worthwhile. War Master remains better. If you are running a speed tune where you disable disable the A2, you would need another Leech champion. But if you did do that, you could run him with Giant Slayer. In terms of masteries, they're unchanged. We've still got Giant Slayer on Rhonda. I actually, with Rhonda, if it's affinity, I will turn off the A2 because the A1 gets an extra hit when the clan boss is below 50%. Does Rhonda need books? Well, I mean, she definitely is improved by books, and I think if in the long term, I probably will book her, and if I end up moving her to be like an arena nuker, she'll definitely benefit from books. I mean, the books just give damage, right? Every single book here is giving damage. But there's a scarcity of legendary books, and she works well unbooked. So to me, I didn't see the necessity to use my books on her when there are other champions that will benefit more from being booked. For instance, Brogni. Brogni was the first champion, legendary champion that I booked, and the books are incredibly important for Brogni to work effectively. Getting that cooldown on the A3 is incredibly important, and I actually really like the A2 as well. The chance to the removal of a debuff from your own allies plus removing a buff from the enemies. I actually quite like having this booked out and running Brogni with enough accuracy to make use of the A2. And then obviously the A1, also a source of HP burn, which we know is one of the best ways to beat bosses in general. So again, for me, having books in Brogni is a good thing to do. Brogni in that Guardian set, giving us that damage mitigation across the board that really helps kind of last longer in clan boss when we don't have ally protection. Enough accuracy that I'm able to use Brogni elsewhere without pairing with Razelvarg. 231 speed, so just slower than Farrakhan, which in the speed tune means Brogni goes last in every cycle, which works very well when we're alternating between the A3 and A2. Scarcity of legendary books. Did you watch your last video? Yeah, well, actually, we've got quite a lot of legendary books now, but we didn't at the time before we started doing Ultra Nightmare. But we will have some decisions to make next CVC about who will end up booking out. And then Masteries, down to Giant Slayer, because we got that reflect damage going on with the shield. You get a good benefit from Giant Slayer, I believe. That still works, although they changed stuff in the game and I haven't paid as much attention in the last year as maybe I did 2 years ago. And then otherwise, I went for Blade Disciple because of Brogni's very low base attack. I actually think you get better substat value from Blade Disciple. And then again, I haven't picked Evil Eye because I might be using him in Bommel. And I definitely am using Brogni in Griffin, so I don't want Evil Eye for the time being. But in the future, potentially, as my roster expands, I might end up picking Evil Eye later on. But for now, no Evil Eye. Then let's go show Delaja, also in a Guardian set. So we've got 2 in Guardian. We've got Razelvarg in Stalwart and Farrakhan in 2 times Defiant, which is basically the same as a Stalwart. In terms of damage mitigation. Total stats on Delaja. She's in the 4th fastest speed tune. 207 speed right now. I think on the speed tune listed on Deadwood's site, it says it needs to be between 210 or 220 if I remember roughly. But actually it can be a bit slower. I found on the calculator it still does work, even a bit slower. Otherwise, I had enough space to glyph Delaja back to that 214 speed if I needed to. So I made sure the gear I picked had enough flexibility depending on on those glyphs that I was going to use that I'd be able to reach whatever speed I actually needed. Enough accuracy, again, like without the increased accuracy, probably 225 would be safer. There is space to glyph a bit higher if I get better glyphs, but it's fine. 216 is consistent enough, particularly when you have the increased accuracy from Razelvarg. It's actually obviously way above what's required. But it is our kind of Achilles heel, because we are relying on an A2 decrease attack. If we do get a resist later on in the run, it will be terminal. So like the run can fall down earlier, you know, if we get a resist, an unlucky resist. Abilities are done, and again the same situation where we just haven't picked these remaining masteries. Probably could go for Life Drinker just to get that additional healing back. That might be the path I'll take, and then again later potentially pick Evil Eye. But again, for now, that's how Delaja is built. Farrakhan in that 2x Defiant, which, like I said, Defiant basically giving 15% for each set, so 30% damage reduction from AoE, the same as Stalwart. And then a Perception set alongside, 232, so slightly faster than Brogni. Works nicely in that speed tune, because if Brogni always goes after, we always keep the buffs up across the board for each of the rotations in the kind of the way that we want to. Enough accuracy, just about, definitely enough when we've got the increased accuracy. And then we've really stacked effective HP to a good level. With the defense, like without being a Defiant or Stalwart, I'd probably want this a bit higher, because I don't run increased defense. I'd probably go for like 3800. But being in Stalwart, it's sufficient, I think. And then the skills are booked. We actually haven't picked the Blessing yet, and I wonder what people think. So do let me know in the chat, like what do you think I should go for? My intention at the moment is probably Phantom Touch. I don't need Farrakhan in Cruelty. I already have Delaja in Cruelty. And unless I pull someone who can replace Delaja, which is probably only going to be Taragi, or in the future potentially Dark Hail. There aren't that many options for me to swap out Delaja at the moment that would necessarily improve on the team, but Taragi would 100% be an improvement. Then, you know, what's the probability of us pulling a specific epic in the game? It's quite low. So I keep moving out of the champion roster. So yeah, that's the Farrakhan build, and then I think that's all of the builds, isn't it? We've done Razelvarg, Ronda, Delaja, Farrakhan, and Brogni. So yeah, most people said they wanted to see Ultra Nightmare, so let's jump in and do that. Jump in, make sure we've picked the Ultra Nightmare speed tune. So essentially here, now the one that's listed on Deadwood's site actually has opening with the A2, but I found that with the specific speed tune I'm running, I can open with the A3 and it works fine. Like I said, we're currently not fighting Affinity, so I'll leave this open. But if we're fighting Affinity, I'd probably block it off, get the extra hit from the A1. And then on Brogni, we are starting with the A2 and then using the A3 thereafter. I don't actually need the 1 and the 2 like this. I did need it previously because I had a different tune where I was starting with the A1, then using A2, then using A3, but I'm not doing that anymore. It doesn't really matter. They're both on a 3-turn cooldown, so the fact that I've got that as a 1 and a 2 doesn't really matter in this instance. On Delaja, I have the A3 turned off, and I'll manually use that as required. This way we get enough A2 and A1. And as I've mentioned with Farrakhan, I've been changing it around. At the moment, I have the A2 turned off because I want to get more of the A1 damage. We can manually intervene and use that if required, but I want to make sure we have the decrease at defense on as much as possible. Right, so let's jump in and give it a go. Yeah, the A2 does hit harder than the A1, but because my Ronda doesn't have like amazing damage, the extra hit on that A1 to make it a quad hit gives an extra chance for another Giant Slayer proc, as well as doing additional damage for the extra hit that you only get when the boss is below 50%. I haven't actually run the numbers, but I'm pretty confident that with my particular build, it's better to use the A1 only below 50%. But I should probably double check based on the multipliers and the damage my Ronda does, whether turning off the A2 actually makes sense or not. But that's my rationale. My rationale for turning off the A2 when it's fighting affinity is you get the extra hit. We do take the stun on the very first cycle, but it's not really a problem. Beyond that, Brogni will be putting up block debuffs for both the stun and for AoE 1. And then on AoE 2, we're unprotected, if you will, but what am I going to say? But we have Delage's shield when the damage gets large, and before that, the actual debuffs are irrelevant. Plus, Brogni will use his A2 to cleanse them anyway. So we're going to take very little real issues from taking those debuffs after AoE, on AoE 2. It's not really going to be a problem for us. Toxic Set is an option on Ronda, but I don't think it would be an option in this team. I have enough problems keeping decreased defense and decreased attack on as it is, which is why I turned off the A2 on Farrakhan. I think if I had a way of keeping really consistent decreased defense and decreased attack, consider a Toxic Set on Ronda. But as it stands, I don't think it's a good idea in this instance. Delage has poison on the A1, and I can, like I said, I could turn Farrakhan's A2 back on. As for am I saving my sacreds, I sort of am. I had a look. I could pull some, and I think if I see how far we get on the champion training side of what's the name of the damn thing we're doing? Deck of Fate. The Deck of Fate. If I get far enough on that it makes sense to pull some sacreds, I potentially could. But on the flip side, I think there's a reasonable chance that they'll actually throw out a sacred guaranteed quite soon, particularly given that we've got this 2x sacred weekend with all the 10x's overlapping. I think it's a little bit the classic player in bait, throw out some really attractive summoning events and then follow it up shortly after with a guaranteed. Like, you know, that's the way they like to roll. So right now, I think on the account I've got 16 sacreds. I think we'll double check. It's either 15 or 16. So I think if I get reasonable RNG over the next week, I'll probably have enough sacreds for a guaranteed champion, which could be. Generally, the guaranteed sacreds have been pretty game changing. I think that might be a good approach to take. Equally, there are going to be more fusions coming up, and at least making sure I have enough shards so I can do any fusion is always quite attractive. And beyond that, I still have a number of champions I need to build to make further progress. In Faction Wars, I also need a solution for Bommel on the hard side, so I think I might actually have to 6-star Crimson Helm. As much as I don't want to do it, I really don't want to 6-star Crimson Helm for Bommel. I've never done like that kind of a solo cheese strat. I wouldn't like to do it, but I might have to, because I tried using my intended team of Vogoth and Creedon, and whilst it works on the normal side, I cleared normal 90 today. It's not really working that well on the hard side. I probably can get it to clear Bommel hard 10, but there's no way it could do 50 or 90. Absolutely no chance. Do you think the team could be better without Ronda? I mean, let's be honest, like, yeah, it probably could, but it depends what champion I'd replace Ronda with. And yeah, I mean, if I get one that's better, ideally in that slot, I'd probably say someone who can bring a weaken would be good. Yeah, pretty much. Do I think Razin would be an option as a replace? Razin could be. The problem is I have increased attack, I don't have increased defense. So bringing in a defense-based nuker at this point is a problem. I don't think we'll get great damage. But you do have, like you say, Delage's passive working with Razin. But the problem with, like I said, Razin with no increased defense, I don't think he's going to outdamage. But the weaken might make up for it. We'll see. We're still missing one. Still missing one rare. So we'll have to see whether it works out or not. But it's definitely an option. Otherwise, someone like, Fane, Aina, even Whisper. Like, there's a number of champions who could go in Ronda's place and probably do more work. Ideally, someone who brings a weaken. Turvold definitely would. For sure. But it's like, at this point, unless the champion that's going to replace Ronda is going to do something in Faction Wars or Hydra, or specifically somewhere in Doom Tower, I'm not going to build another champion that's specifically clan boss only. Whatever champion I build has to bring progress somewhere else. Can you tune Turvold? I don't see why not, to be honest. I think we should survive turn 19, although this is generally quite a big hit. So like I said, from 22 onwards, I think we'll use Delage's A3 just to be safe. There's no point risking it. We really need to try and get nearly 80 million, 40 million rather, on this key to avoid needing the third key, just because I missed it the first time round. But so there's another reason why I'm not that fussed about 2x Sacreds. Generally, I really like 2x Ancient and Void because I really value the epics. Now in 2x Sacred, you don't have an increased epic pull rate. You're going to be pulling epics with every Sacred anyway. So it's really a question of, will I get a lot more legendaries? I'll get a few more, but not like that many more. And is that legendary going to be one that's actually going to affect the team in a constructive way? And it's hard to say. Like, there's so many average legendaries in the game. Like, there's no fusion going on right now, so it's not going to benefit me from that side. There's no guaranteed champion. The fact that I've ended up saving up quite a lot of Sacreds, just waiting for this 2x Sacred to see what happens. The fact that I got that luck early on in Clan Boss, and we're now quite close to like the 20 mark for a potential guaranteed. If I manage to get someone of the equivalent power of like a Necmo or a Michinaki, that would be so game changing. More than a potential random legendary would be. No, it's turned out 24. I was a bit early there. It's 25 that we need to intervene. I think it's more sensible at this point. This is Ultra Nightmare. To answer you. So turn count 25, Rabbit goes, Ronda goes. This is our time to go in, add the A3 from Delage, and then you'll see Brogni will use the A2 to grow that shield just to give us that extra bit of protection. So on AoE 1, we have Brogni's natural shield, and then AoE 2, we have Delage's shield grown by Brogni. So, we should end up in a consistent 2 key, as long as I don't forget to do the interventions. Otherwise, if I leave it full auto, it will be a 3 key. So. Yeah, I mean, if I do get Razin, which obviously I will eventually, I would probably give it a go. But I'm just not well, I don't know when I'm going to get Razin because I'm missing one rare and have been for a while. And then beyond that, I'll build Razin probably for faction wars. Like, he's really good for clearing faction wars. But I don't know. I did it before. You see, we've lost Ronda, so this fight is gonna fall down. I think we'll just fall short of the 2 key this time. It's a shame. It was an unlucky crit, but look, we still gonna break about 37, maybe 38 million. It's just a bit of a shame that we're just slightly gonna fall short, I think, of the 2 key. We might get lucky, but if the one person who can kind of die and the tune still works for a little bit longer is the Farrakhan spot, Ronda and everyone else are fully required to stay alive. So yeah, I think, like I said, we just missed it this time because of the bad key earlier where I wasn't paying attention. But I had 2 keyed every other time, so it's a bad time to showcase it. I had 2 keyed every other day, but yeah, like I said, I missed doing the manual interventions on the first key because I started the run and I was doing some other stuff and then came back too late. But you can see how it works, Right. What do people want to see now that we've finished that? I need to do some faction wars, a bit of silver key in the Doom Tower. Oh, there is actually one other interesting thing that I can show, which is I've got to hard Fire Knight. And I'm able to farm stage 1. I think stage 2 didn't seem quite as consistent. But let's at least show the Fire Knight run. Why don't I reset the run? Well, too late now. I've already finished it, but I just can't be bothered to do that. It takes too long, all that kind of messing around. I'll just do 3 keys in Ultra Nightmare and 1 key Nightmare. I'll still get the damage done. It's not really a problem. On the other days, I've been doing 2 keys into Nightmare to try and help the clan get Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare down. We've not been clearing Nightmare every time, which is a bit of a shame because I'd like to get the double chests. Will I ever do account takeovers? The reality is I just don't have the time. I work a full-time job. I currently play 2 raid accounts. I try and have a bit of a life as well outside of the game. And there's just it's hard enough, to be honest, just doing the stuff I do each day. As it is, I already think it's kind of not really sustainable running 2 accounts long term, and finding time to do account takeovers, to do them well, I just don't see when that's going to happen. I try and get a couple of videos out each week, and even that's kind of hard to find the time to do it, which is why I thought maybe doing a bit of live streaming might work out well, because I could just do maybe an hour stream every so often, maybe once a week kind of thing. Get on, show some stuff on the game, get some of the dailies done whilst I'm doing the live stream, and it will kind of replace one of the videos. So, we'll see that. How long does the free-to-play challenge go? I think the actual official challenge side of it kind of ended in inverted commas when we did that last stream on Hell Hades, where the kind of competition part kind of ended. But I don't think there's any specific goal in mind. I always said at the beginning that I would quite like to get faction wars cleared, get Lydia. That's always been my ambition on this. Clear hard Doom Tower and get Lydia. And if I can do that, inside a year. It's not like the world's smoothest Fire Knight run, you'll see. Cold Heart does routinely die, but as long as Arbiter doesn't die, we will win. I've done it, about 50 runs now, and I have failed once, so it's not quite 100%, but it's 98% or something. What kind of job do I do? Well, I don't go into, like I said, I always keep my real life and my game life separate. But yeah, it's a bit analytical, a bit mathsy. So yeah, you're not wrong in that regard. What else? So other questions do we have? I'm free to play. Paul, Draco, and Mitchie. Would like to build? Yeah, I mean, you definitely can build Ultra Knight Mech Land Boss teams around Draco. I'm pretty sure there's some people use Michinaki as well. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. I think alongside that, you will need some kind of sustain, probably like a block debuffs champion or like a couple of ally protectors, something like that. Yeah. So Marcella, you don't think anyone else is pumping out weekly videos? Is Hell Hades not putting out regular content still? I think he's still playing the account, so I'd be surprised if he's not putting out at least a video every other week or something. I think like Saf is playing his account again. Odd One's definitely pretty active playing his account based on what I see in like the in the Discord. Oh, you might actually see the second loss. It's not a great showcase. Yeah. I do prefer the video format of stream. Yeah, I think so. It's also I'm not an experienced streamer, let's be honest. So it's kind of we'll learn. At the moment I'd say it's not brilliantly handled from my side. I don't necessarily I don't have background music that helps kind of narrow it along. I think streaming, typically you need that video interaction to kind of have that non-verbal communication, because only having voice is you end up with these kind of quiet pauses, and I don't think that works as well unless you have a camera. And since I do my videos without cameras, I think generally the way I do content probably fits better for video format than streaming, but I thought I'd give it a go anyway, and kind of see how it goes really. Creedon seems really good. Is Gory comparable? Well, Creedon's a bit different. I think he's stronger than Gory as an overall champion. We got the A3 that does increased speed with a little TM fill, which is really, really strong for kind of dungeon clearing and all the rest of it. And then you got this AoE hit that's a double hit with a decent chance to freeze. So 65% on each hit. You're generally going to get like 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 enemies frozen. And then you've got a triple hit A1 with a chance to freeze. So I haven't actually done the Masteries, but I'm thinking ultimately I'll probably go down and get Fearsome Presence. I think it would be well valuable for Creedon. But like I've said before, I really, really want to test a champion out first before I pick the Masteries. I think that's really, really important. In terms of shards, we have 15 Sacreds, 30 Voids, and 38 Ancients. Give me 2 seconds, I just need to have a drink of water. Right, back. Some streamers use an animated face. Yeah, I mean, that's another option. I need to look into all of these kind of things. I probably would like to get some background music set up. So if this becomes like a regular thing, I'll figure out what I can do in terms of some DRM free or unrestricted music, have a bit of background music, maybe get an animated face. Ideally an animated Leorius face. Since that's the icon on the channel. Yeah, and then I don't know, we'll see. Like in terms of Discord channel, I have been talking about getting it set up for ages. Maybe I'll try and do that. I was gonna try and do it this weekend, to be honest, but then the weekend got away from me, as they always do. So maybe during the week I will get it set up. Yeah, otherwise, Soundstage, there's Soundstripe or whatever, there's loads of them, to be honest. I think even Spotify has some some music that can be used. I just need to kind of look into it. And since I already have a Spotify account, if I can use that, it probably makes sense because I don't need to pay for anything extra. I don't know. Like I said, I need to look into it. What do I think of Dirndl for FK Hard? Don't know. What do I think? Is he in Sylvan Watchers? I can't remember who Dirndl is. The name rings a bell. Anyway, I can't see him. What do we want to see next, guys? I've shown you the Fire Knight team. I've shown you the clan boss. How is my main account doing? It's just ticking over, to be honest. We could potentially, after we do a little bit more on this account, we could potentially jump over to the main and do a little bit of tag team. I actually need to do some tag team on that account as it is. But yeah, Lizard and Demon, we could maybe do a bit of faction wars. Dark Elf. Let's go and look at Dirndl. Where's he? Oh, there he is. Oh yes, the other one. I also pulled him, didn't I? Each hit, freeze. I mean, my issue with this is why give such a low chance? It's way too low. And then there's no freeze here with a nice AoE hit. Yeah, I remember this champion now. I think it'll be a problem on Fire Knight Hard just because this chance to freeze is too low. Like, there's just no point. You're better off not running a freeze champion at all than bothering with this. Like, you're just not going to decrease TM enough. Otherwise, your Carl's so much better, and you'll eventually get him from the old clan shop, which I'm currently buying as much as I can. I also kind of want to start to get some of these, but I'm cognizant that my clan gold is going down rather than going up. What was the next question? Am I not going for the 2x? Yeah, I kind of mentioned already that I'm not, mostly because I want to keep enough sacreds that I can do the fusion, the next fusion that I want to do. I might skip this next fusion that's actually coming up. I'm not sure. I haven't quite decided, to be honest, if I'm going to do it or not. As always with any fusion, I'll wait to see what the schedule is and see how much summoning is mandatory. If it's such that we can get by only summoning during the 2x, then I might do that, because I think I need to check, but actually maybe one of you guys knows, is the next 2x Ancient or Void? I think it's Void next. I think. So if the fusion overlaps with 2x Voids, well, I'm going to summon 2x Voids anyway. And if I don't have to do the summon rush, if I don't have to do the 10x pulls for the fusion, if it's only one summoning event, then I'll definitely do it. If it does require both, then I probably would only do it if the 10x summon rush coincided with a guaranteed champion. So it's kind of like, you know, and I'd have to obviously have enough sacreds to get that guaranteed. But let's just say hypothetically that the fusion overlaps with 2x voids and a guaranteed champion on the summon rush, then obviously it would make sense for me to do it. So to say that I'm not going to do it because the champion isn't strong doesn't give enough context, because it depends on the schedule they put out, how many energy crunches there are, what kind of summoning they require. It's subjective. So I would say the threshold for me to do it right now is quite high. Like, I'd probably be on the camp of I'm not likely to do it, but I won't categorically rule it out until we have all of the information available, basically. What can we do on this faction wars? I don't think I've actually got anyone built to push any further on Demon Spawn, so that's not going to be interesting content at all. And then on the Lizards, I think we've pretty much reached the end of what Delaja can do alone. I think we're in a similar situation. I don't think we can get this any further. But let's just give it a go. Why not? And then on the main, am I doing 2x Sacreds? I mean, I haven't bothered, to be honest. Maybe I probably should have opened some shards. I still could, to be honest. We've got another few hours tonight, plus tomorrow morning. Maybe I could just open some Sacreds on the main. I think I've got 59. No, I think I've got 61 now on the main. So I have enough Sacreds to open on the main account. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't bother normally unless there's like a guaranteed or if it's a fusion that I need to get finished. Otherwise, I haven't really been bothering summoning anything on the main outside of those scenarios, which means I have a lot of shards to use. Let's just make sure we get this Paragon killed because he's a pain. But yeah, I don't think we can get past this stage at the moment. I think we need another champion built. I think Delaja alone just... The third wave, she just takes too much damage. We'll try and manual it, but I'm pretty sure because of the reflect damage, it's just too much damage coming back to us, and it's quite hard to do. Let's just go on manual now. Where is Broadmoor? Dead. Broadmoor is there, just dead. Who do we want to try and get down first? Probably the Warden, or one of them. Get rid of these reflect damages if we can. I haven't tried this since we rebuilt Delaja. Now that Delaja is in Guardian, we might actually manage to get through this, to be honest, because we've got that 10% heal each time. Like I said before, my issue was I was taking too much damage, but now that we're in Guardian, it might be doable. The AoE, let's do that. Yeah, I think we're going to get past it, guys. How do people get so many Sacreds? Well, for one, be lucky. that's kind of the key thing. Get lucky and get double chests on Ultra Nightmare every day. Those are the two key bits. And luck you can't control, so the only thing you can do is control beating clan boss every day. I think we're safe just to click auto. So we got this another stage done. There we go. Well, it will be done. We celebrate before we've actually won it. Yeah, I think who will be my next 6-star? I think, unfortunately, it's going to be Crimson Helm, because I need a solution to get past Bommel, and I don't have one. So there you go. There was Broadmoor. Dead is where Broadmoor was. But yeah, like if I had Broadmoor slightly better built, with reasonable gear, 5-star, ascended, and maybe we'd be able to do a bit more on this. Let me just quickly take a screenshot of this because I might have to include it in the next documented video. But let's see if we can get past the boss as well. This is the beauty of when you rebuild champions, you get progress everywhere else. So, you know, all of that clan boss rebuild that we've done, we've now got stronger champions in other areas. Make sure we get the increase attack and cleanse champion killed first. But yeah. I'm just reading now what you guys have been saying. I only get 1 chest per day and 1 from Nightmare. Piotr, what do you mean? Do you only get 1? Are you in a clan that's not beating Ultra Nightmare? Are you beating Ultra Nightmare but your clan isn't? So who do we need to kill here first? I think we need to take down the healer. That's our most important thing. Get rid of Mystic Hand. We'll then try and get rid of Husk. Hopefully, we don't want to take too many of the bombs. That's really the key bit here. And then we need to make sure we kill this before we take all these bombs. There we go. So Piotr, if you do 72 million to Ultra Nightmare, why aren't you getting double chests? Are your clan not beating them? Because if your clan's not beating clan boss and you're not close, or your clan's not close, you probably need to find a new clan. It's so important to get double chests. It really is. Like, the most important thing in the game. You get so many more. Yeah, sure, Pocket Queens. I can post my Delaja. She does decent damage. Yeah, like she has okay multipliers. Not amazing, but like the A2 does hit reasonable. Does enough anyway. I'm not sure we're gonna get through this actually. We might need resistance to be able to get through this one. But we'll see. We're gonna give it a go. Take it off. We'll take it off auto. We'll do it manually. Got the true fear there. I don't want to risk using my heal whilst we got the fear on. Now I'll use it. Decrease attack on. Taking a lot of damage, but this Guardian set is helping us. Get the heal again. Decrease attack again. A1 gives us a bit of a heal again. Fear, so we're not going to use the A3. The A1. Then come in A3. Slowly dying. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. Then 2. Chomping down the boss, but also getting chomped down ourselves. True fear again. A1 in. We're gonna have to A1 again. Get our shield out. That decrease attack back on. And I think, there we go. Just about. It was a bit touch and go, but managed. We managed it. Let's see how much further we can go. Need help with Lizardmen faction war. Draco, Razin, Delaja, Venomage. I mean, you've got so many great champions there. I would probably, I mean, the reality is Razin with Broadmoor can clear it. Like, you don't really need anyone else. Scathix is really handy for the boss, the final boss, because of block debuffs. Draco obviously does a hell of a lot of damage. Venomage is amazing. Delaja's very, very strong. I would use Draco, Venomage. I probably wouldn't bother with Razin if you don't need to, given where you are. I'd probably go Scathix at 50, Broadmoor at 50, Draco, Venomage, and Delaja. That's probably what I would do. I've got to say, I've been really enjoying Guardian for faction wars. I was using it a little bit on some of my, like when I got really rubbish Guardian gear, and using it as like a budget regen set because I don't have that much regen. Now I'm at least able to farm Fire Knight, we'll start to get more regen. But it's actually a really viable alternative to regen, specifically for some champions. Razin is good for the TM control and the buff strip, but if you can get, like, I don't think you need that on the boss stage. Now, potentially for some of the other stages, you might need it, particularly for like a Valk wave. But I think you'll be able to do it with the other champions, to be honest. I just wouldn't build Razin if he's not built and you can do faction wars without having to build him. I'd probably not bother building him because he just doesn't get used anywhere else. That's the simple reality. Let's get decrease attack out. See if we can survive this. We're in quite a tanky build, so we've got a reasonable chance. Need to obviously kill the Arbiter first. That's the key. I will go A1 again. I want to get rid of this decreased defense pretty quickly. Decrease attack. The Thalia waves can be annoying. You really need a high damage dealing composition. This should be safe now. I can click the auto. It's another stage done. The larger absolutely romping it in that Guardian set, the clan boss build. So what the simple reality, like with faction wars, in many instances, if you have one or two really well built champions, they can hard carry the whole team. Who's good instead of Razin? It depends who you have. I mean, the player we were talking about had some absolutely, crazy champions, much better options than Razin, to be honest. Like I said, I like Razin. I do use him still on my main. I use him in faction wars still, and I use him in a few secret rooms. But beyond that, like, he's not the best champion in the game. So if you can have other options that you can build instead of him, I probably wouldn't invest the resources into him. Particularly, I'm talking like legendary books here. I think he's not worth the legendary books if we're going to need to kill somebody. This this Shiramani's going to be a bit of a problem. But let's try and get one of these champions down first. And then we'll try and kill Shiramani. Right, we've got a little bit of respite here. Let's see if we can get down the Shiramani. Where do I use Lydia on my main? Clearing Doom Tower floors in a Seer Bomb. Other than that, I think I use Lydia in one Hydra team, and I think I occasionally use Lydia in tag team, but not very often. That's kind of it. You have Pythian Necmo, but no damage. Who's good for damage? So many. Ooh. Venomage, Basilisk, Jarang. Pretty much anyone can be built to do good damage if you put damage dealing gear on them. And even Necmo can do decent damage if you just put damage on him, to be honest. But I think in my team that I run on my main, I think the most of the damage is probably still Razin, but like it doesn't need to be. This could be the end of it. I don't know if we're going to do enough damage to kill this wave with Delaja. They won't be able to kill me, but I don't think I can kill them. So I think we've probably found the end of what is doable. But yeah, two apothecaries, two cardinals. I don't think we can clear this wave with one tanky champion. But I think that's it. Yeah, we'll abandon that. But at least we got up to floor 15. That's nice progress. Able to get 3 to 5 star glyphs, legendary forge materials. I'll use the rest of the keys in stage 15. Let's jump in actually whilst we're here. Jump into the index. Who's good for damage? Draco, Roxanne, Fushan, Razin. Even Vagamkar apparently can be built with damage. Romantu, Chagur, Jarang, Venomage, Basilisk, Aox can do damage. Broodlord, I'm sure, can be built to do decent damage. Drake can do good damage. Delaja can do plenty enough damage. And then I wouldn't bother with any of the rares. So there's a whole bunch of champions there that can do damage for lizards. And the reality is just pick one that works elsewhere. Fushan, useful in force attack, so definitely a viable champion. Draco, useful everywhere, up until you get like Lydia, because of decreased defense and weaken, really strong A1 and poisons. Chagur is pretty good. I wouldn't regret building him either. From the epics, Aox is really strong for Iron Twins, and pretty good for Clan Boss. Good for the Lizard Epic Faction War Room. Venomage, really good for the Epic Faction War Room. Can solo that. If you have Venomage, I'd build Venomage, use him for damage. Who else? I wouldn't really bother with Drake or Basilisk or Jarang unless you really need to. They don't have a lot of alternative use. But if you don't have Aox or Venomage, I would probably go for Jarang or Basilisk next. What do I think of Bar Suffer? I mean, the problem with Bar Suffer is by the time you get him, you don't need him. Like, he comes so late in the game. I have him on my main, and I've never used him. Like, good champion with good abilities. Like, if I had a champion like this on my free-to-play right now, on this challenge account, he'll be used everywhere. Like, amazing. AoE stun, plus, like, really strong damage mitigation abilities here. You know, you got the strength and continuous heal and shield. Like, but... And decreased attack is actually quite nice. Decent chance, 60%. Great champion, but when you get him, when do you need him? Amar, I can see you keep typing, but like, I don't know. I don't know every clan boss team, basically. Taragi Sandlash, you got the extension on ally protection. God Giscard. I mean, potentially. Potentially, but like, yeah, I mean, it would require going through the calculator, making sure you have a correct speed tune, gearing everyone, testing, iterating. In terms of, is it the best team to build based on what you have in your account? Again, you'd have to look through the roster, figure that out. Like, I don't know. All of these things, they're so subjective, which is why I generally try to always encourage people to use the videos and resources that I put out there to ultimately analyze their own account and come up with something that works for them. I try not to show too much content or talk about too many things that are champion specific, and I try to talk about general theory and hope that people can use that same thought process on their own account. Things like the roster analysis, etc. For tag team is a good example of that. I'm gonna drink a bit more water. My voice is getting really croaky. So in terms of clan boss, I would say the key things if you're looking at what you need to get to Nightmare and then Ultra Nightmare, I would say decrease attack is pretty important. A form of decreased defense is very important. Some kind of sustain, and potentially, if you want to go for a 2-for-1, you need a way of going fast. But if you're going for a 1-for-1, it's about decreased attack, decreased defense, a way of staying alive, and damage. And damage, easiest way to get damage is poison and brimstone by far. So that's kind of the general concept. RSL Kaki, I was watching and you didn't rate resilience that high. Yeah, I mean, it's a good set. I just don't find that I use it very often. Like in my main account, very few champions end up actually using it when I'm building them. It's a nice filler set, but it doesn't get used very much. If I look through the builds right now, Brogni has a set on, but then no one else does. I keep clicking through. No one. So in my entire account, I've got speed and perception being used all over the place. Obviously got Guardian and Stalwart and Defiant being used, but resilience just doesn't get used very much. So yeah, I don't know. Like it's a tricky one as a result. Like I'm not going to bother putting charms on resilience. I will craft all of this when we get CBC, but my charms exclusively are going to go on perception. They'll go on Guardian, lethal, although I'm not able to craft any 5 to 6 star. I'd put charms into Defiant. I'd probably put charms into Righteous. Bolster, definitely. But yeah, I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't bother with resilience that much. There's just always a better set. I think that's the problem with resilience. Is like it's a good set, it's a good filler, but there's just always a better set. So yeah, in terms of Doom Tower, normal Bommel 90 is done. I did it using this team here. So we've got like the freeze coming in from Creedon, Vogoth doing his thing, decrease attack from Delaja, a little bit of sustain from Delaja, Brogni, and Doom Priest, and that worked fine. Like I said, on the hard side, this is still not done. And I have tried, but it's not great. It's not going that well. And it was going to be the same team, but it means that I might have to just bite the bullet and make Crimson Helm my next 6 star. Which I don't want to do, but I don't think I have a choice. I think that's going to be the only way we can go. What do people want to see now? Do you want to see a bit more tag team? We've done a bit of faction wars. I've shown my Fire Knight team. We can do a bit of tag team. We can do a bit of Q&A. In terms of the Deck of Fate, I've done 10,000 points so far. We could pull the first 10 books, first 10 cards rather, and see if we get anything. I will probably do roughly another 5 to 10,000 points, I'd imagine, on this, because I need to finish. Well, I want to build another 6 star basically. So I think we're gonna ultimately get Crimson Helm to 6 star during this champion training, and then I've been doing a bit of Fire Knight as well. And I'm probably going to do some overnight. I probably will end up doing the 3,000, so I will spend some gems to do both of these things. We've got a bit of energy coming in from tag team. That'll be nice. I did want to get this barrel, but I've only got 15 hours left, and it's badly timed. It's tough when you don't have all the one man defenses to do on tag team. I would have liked the barrel, but it's not really going to happen at this point in time. Can I do a Hydra key? I can try, actually. I do need to do Hydra on this account. I haven't done my main key yet. I had to do 2 keys just during the week that were 0 damage. So we can give it a go. I forget what I actually used last week. I don't like this particular rotation. Rotation 2 is not a nice rotation. Right then. So we've got a few interesting things actually. Skaramis I have now built to be a mischief tank. So we have 370 resistance on him. No mastery set, as always. So we should be able to bring in Razelvarg. We should be able to bring in Artak. Probably bring in Arbiter, or we'll bring in Jamasa. Then on top of that, we definitely want Stag Knight. And then maybe we'll just go Chronom as well. And that should probably work. Let's give it a go. Like I said, it's not really a rotation that is particularly pleasant, to be honest. Oh yeah, I remember what we needed actually. Let's regroup. We need a Doom Priest in here. So who's going to drop? It'll be Chronom. We'll add in Doom Priest. Doom Priest is our way of dealing with the fear, basically. So we're gonna give that a go. So yeah, let's go A3, 2, and we'll get the HP burns out. Try and get decreased speed on someone. Get the old provokes up, which just gives us the buffs we need for mischief tanking. And then we'll get the leech. Poison Cloud obviously goes on, but not really a problem. Increase speed on mischief, that's pretty good. I'll try and extend some of the duration because we won't be able to hit them otherwise. We'll try and reduce the duration of the buffs. Try and get decreased speed out here. We'll probably just go A1 again. Do I think Artak is better than Chronom? I think Artak is better than Chronom, but also my Artak is booked and my Chronom is not, so it makes a big difference. Try and get the decreased speed out again. Take a lot of damage there, but hopefully we'll just about survive. Go for that this time. So we got the fear on us. Who do we need to heal up? Actually, we've got fear on us anyway. Hopefully everyone's going to die, and then we can revive them, because that's the way we're going to have to do it. There's not a great rotation, this one. We'll heal first, then I'll revive. I might actually need Brogni in this rotation. But we'll see. Any tips on how to free champions swallowed by mischief? Bring in AoE max HP, basically. That's your best bet. See if we can get back on top of this. It's these poisons that have been absolutely destroying us, to be honest. Not sure this is going very well. Let's see if we can still flip it back around. We only need to get a little bit further to be able to revive everyone. Just. I think it's going to have to be started again, unfortunately. So yeah, I don't know. It's not a great rotation. I'm probably going to have to try it a number of times to make it work. I did it first time last week. I'm not sure why it's so difficult this time. But let's try something different. If we probably want the majority of these, who could we potentially drop? We don't worry about fear as much when we bring in Brogni. We still need Artak. This could work better. Plus we get the Brimstone from Brogni. Raid is the first mobile game I got into, yeah. Go for the increased speed again. Our block debuffs out. Get the HP burns out. Get our buffs out to Mischief Tank. We're just going to risk it with the True Fears, basically. We're just going to use the abilities anyway. And to be honest, we can use Brogni to cleanse occasionally as well, which does work. Then I'll try and extend. I feel like this looks a little bit more stable. Decrease the duration of that buff. Didn't want that to happen. Am I a fan of the improved Classic Arena tournament? Yeah, I mean, why not? It's better than what there was before. This Wrath is doing way too much damage to us. I might have to check back on what I did last week, because this is not going well. Heal ourselves so we can probably revive, because we probably need to. Get that up. Let's strip off some of those buffs. Not ideal. Yeah, like I said, I think I'm probably gonna have to do this offline kind of thing, and actually just try it a few times. But we'll finish this run anyway. As long as we can actually kill some of these heads and get on top of it. Get the HP burns out. Quite hard actually to do this whilst reading chat or trying to. I'm not that good at the multitasking part of this yet. No, I've not tried to do an infinity for clan boss using 3 Valeries. That sounds like hell. Does anyone know what we need to top chest? I think it's 6.5 million, roughly. At least we're beginning to take back control right now. I'll save my A3. We get things back. How do I build a mischief tank? Well, high resistance is the main thing. I think we'll be able to get the 1 key. I think. Get our attack back. Interesting. I didn't think we could get different heads. I thought the whole point on normal was that you got the same heads every time. How odd. A1. The decreased speed out. Well, that's just garbage. See if we can come back from this again. At least decrease the duration of buffs again. Try and strip some with Brogni. Just A1 again. I'll hold back there. For the HP burn, risk it despite the true fear. Our buffs back up. So we should be able to. We should get the 6.6 million. No wrath. Been the biggest pain. Oh, yeah, we'll go for the explosion. Get rid of those true fears across us. Being pretty unlucky with the way Mischief is stealing. Not been working that well having our Mischief tank this time. Let's just see what we can do. Got the poison cloud out at the moment. We'll just have to A1 for a bit. The buffs out at least. So Mischief tank needs to have high resistance and always have more buffs than everyone else. So I like to use a blood shield ring, but I don't have that option currently. Just gonna have to A1. Our attack doesn't work that well, to be honest, against the Fearhead unless you have a Shamil or a Veil, because with every ability being an AoE, basically perma feared. But carrying on anyway. Let's get our buff up. We went for the went for it, but we failed. And Mischief is stolen again. So our attempt with the new Mischief tank not gone that well. Seems to have been pretty unlucky in timing of these things. But, you know, whatever. My Mischief tank is built more slowly, but he won't have more buffs 100% of the time. You know, like, we just, it's not a perfectly tuned Hydra team by any stretch of the imagination. But it's just sort of heading in the right direction. So as long as we're able to one key normal, like, it's not too bad. We still might free our champion. Yeah, we did. So, like, it's not perfect, but it's getting the job done. But I do want to ultimately move this team up to a hard team, basically. But I think it will take a bit of time. Mistimed that. I was busy talking. And he just cleansed the HP burn straight away. But we'll carry on. Let's just go on until the end. See how far we can go. But yeah, basically, I would like to get a team that can do hard. And to be able to do hard, I do need like a reliable Mischief tank. I think that's quite important. Managed to steal my counterattack, and he's going to spread it around, isn't he? Absolutely ridiculous. What are we even going to do? And that's it. Block buffs is massively missing, yeah. Anyway, it's enough damage so we can keep the result. But yeah, block buffs is the biggest issue. Now, in terms of Mithrala fragments, we 66 on Archmage. We're actually not that far. Mithrala 31. How much resistance is required? Well, I checked, and for hard, I need about 400. And right now, my Skaramis has 369. But the banner isn't rolled up, but ideally I'll get a better banner than this. And then Masteries aren't done, so I could potentially go down and get Unshakable. Although I'd prefer to get Eagle Eye and get enough resistance elsewhere. But that's kind of the strategy. So we got resistance coming here. You also get resistance as a one-piece perk from protection. We then have a bit of Stone Skin with a two-piece resistance perk here. Resistance chest, Stone Skin. Nice shield here and resilience with double resistance, double accuracy roll. Got these gauntlets here with resistance as a roll. So there's plenty of room to glyph some of this stuff higher. Like if I get better glyphs, we can also glyph speed there if we need to. And then a double resistance roll on these speed boots. So overall, I was reasonably happy with the build. Like decent-ish defense, decent-ish HP, and quite healthy resistance and accuracy numbers. I think Skaramis will work. The issue I've noticed with him already is 3-turn 2-turn, he often doesn't have enough of the extra buffs, so might need to get lasting gifts, might need to make him slower. I don't know. We'll have to kind of see. But it's an initial attempt to try it. Otherwise, there are, I could potentially go down and do Nari if I wanted like a decrease accuracy. Could help as another option. Also brings the extra buff. The problem here, 2-turn extra buff, 4-turn cooldown is a problem in itself. What else do we have as an option? We don't really have any block buffs champion, to be honest. Eventually Husk will come in. Seeker's another option that I could use for a provoker for decay. Could definitely work. Yeah, it's really block buffs is the problem. Block buffs is a massive problem. So yeah, it would depend who we get, basically. We'll just have to keep playing and see who we get. I do need to do some training. That's something I need to do, which I'll do after this stream has finished. Does anyone what does anyone want to see now as the last thing? We've been going on an hour and a half. We'll probably stream for another like 15-20 minutes. What is the last thing people want to see? Bit of tag team. Try and pick a few more teams that we can beat. Maybe. Yeah, we'll try that. We could potentially... Oh, I don't know. We might win. Might win some of these. Let's go Gembo against Team 1. Should be faster. Our slow team... Probably... against that. Yeah, I think that will work. So, Scramis to CC them. I didn't want to put Artak against Sky Touch because of block debuffs there. We could probably, now that we've got Farrakhan built, we could potentially bring in Farrakhan for someone. Not sure which team though. Also need to rebuild Gembo. I would like to do some Doom Tower, but I have no keys left. That's the problem. So I can't show you anything in Doom Tower because I have no gold keys left. I'm stuck on Bommel 10 on the hard side. So it's like, there's a limited number of options on what to show stuff in Doom Tower. So I can show some stuff in Tag Team, where basically I'm just like running these. Sky Touched is in an immunity set. Like, well done. We'll take it off auto. And instead we'll go for a reduce the duration of buffs. And we'll just do a bit of AoE damage, and then this should be fine now. We'll strip them, and then we'll provoke. So there you go. No problem. Should win this one. I haven't actually done any Iron Twins yet. Like, 0. And I should. I should do the Iron Twins. I should also actually go back and do Nightmare Campaign. I might try and do some Nightmare Campaign during the CBC, because at least I'll get some CBC points for it. That might be a good time to do it. I'm not going to pull shards. That's the reality. I'm just not. I have not fused Torture Helm. I pulled Torture Helm, but I will probably still fuse him to have a copy of him. Like, he's decent. He's not great, but like, it depends what you've got. I haven't done really any live arena. I'm just not that bothered. Say my name, bro. Well, how do you pronounce it? Hunter? Maybe Hunter Dragon? Don't know. Not sure. Not sure how the pronunciation is. Anyway, there you go. Three easy wins. Don't need to target Syl. They'll take care of it. But yeah, I probably should have force targeted. Would have been quicker. This one, I think we might actually win the speed race there. Fight 2 looks pretty sketchy. And I think I need my team there. Yeah, we'll give it a go. Why not? I think I'll probably lose fight 2. And I'm going out hoping that I'm going to win the speed race on fight 1. There you go. Easy clap on fight 1. Let's see if we beat their fight 2 as well. Yeah, I think we will. Just well-built champions. That's what you need. Okay, they won the speed race, but it's not a problem. Because we have ways of reducing their buff duration and provoking them. Do I recommend soloing lower dungeons so food can come in? Honestly, it's not that big a deal soloing and having food come in. I would always recommend getting good gear above soloing. So, you know, it's not worth getting worse gear to try and get a little bit of champion training done. Champion training's so easy to do in campaign. It's not efficient in the long run, personally, to be wasting energy trying to get low amounts of experience and worse gear. Now, if you can get like good gear, if you can solo, you know, stage 24, 25, or one of the hard stages, then go right ahead. But if you have to drop down to stage 20 or lower, I don't think it's worth it. I won't do it anyway. I prefer to get better gear. It's going to be much better for my progression if I have better gear. Let's go here again. I reckon no speed into speed. I reckon I could either intercept or just outright outspeed them. They have a bit of a speed team here. Speed into speed. Reasonable chance that they will be faster. I'll put my slow team against them. Like I said, no chance that no guarantee that I'm actually gonna survive this one. I probably could lose that, but I think my main team will be fine against their main team. You don't do stage 20 for tournaments events for the most points per energy. No, I would always recommend doing stage 24 if you can. Because stage 24 you just get better gear. It's a best balance of gear to energy to points. You know, I don't try and optimize just in one dimension. I'll try and optimize in multiple dimensions. So really, it just depends what you've got as options. Yeah, I think, like I said, I thought this fight would probably be a loss. You know, you never 100% know. Can Artak? No, Artak's dead. That fight is over. Let's skip it. And hopefully, yeah, we do get the speed. And come on, Gembo. To intervene. Although did kill them, their arbiter survived. This is now looking a bit sketchy, having been an easy win because we've now got 5 turns until I revive. Oh, why did I let it auto? That's why I need to book out my arbiter, basically. Yeah, we've lost. I think we can redo that though. Yeah, I think we can redo that, but I'll probably flip this around, I reckon. I reckon that's going to be safer. Do this again. How did we win the first one? It doesn't seem to be going as well this time. But we should be fine. Take you down. Take you down. Blocked. That should be fine. Ever considered Greybeard as a Hydra provoker? I mean, you could, but like again, I'd only build Greybeard really to magic rare secret room. Maybe, you know, just a lot of work to put in. At least this time we won that one. Get decrease attack across the board. Not going well. Yeah, always gonna die. Anyway, we won 2 out of 3. My nightmare team can't do force affinity. Would it make sense to build up Aothar for those red days? Potentially. I mean, it really depends. I don't know what team you're running. I'm guessing it's some kind of unkillable. Maybe it's budget unkillable. Is there no other option? Because Aothar's not really useful anywhere else. Modest Craig, who are the best champs for rare secret rooms? I actually have a video called Best Champions for Rare Secret Rooms. It's the only best of video I've ever put out. And it's dedicated to explaining who are the best rare champions for all of the secret rooms in Doom Tower, and who I'd build and why, basically, and some alternates. So I'd recommend watching that video because they're all in there. Let's just use this last key. Speed into speed. This one's going to be tough. I doubt I'll outspeed them. I reckon I can use this team against this one, even if they get the block damage off. I have ways of removing it. Use my speed team against this. Would be fine. I just noticed we don't have the... Yeah, anyway, we don't have a preset, so we'll try that next time. Any plans for the rest of the day? Well, it is 10 to 7 here, so I'm going to have dinner. I need to finish a few little bits off on both accounts. And, you know, spend some time with the girlfriend, watch a bit of TV. So there really isn't that much time left, and there's not that much planned, really. Just enjoy the last bits of the weekend before work on Monday. Have dinner, watch a bit of TV, and finish what needs to be finished on the both raid accounts. And I think that will be enough. Come on, Razelvarg, you can kill them all. Maybe the next live stream we'll do some stuff on the main account. That could be a nice alternative. Get that ultimate Death Knight killed. Done there. Like I said, I think we'll lose this one. Most likely. Yeah. Kinda likely. I do need to set up a preset though, because these champions aren't doing what they should be doing. So I probably need to set up some better presets. And in fact, I will just intervene here because I noticed a couple of times Gembo didn't use his A3 first, and if he did, it would have been a cleaner win, which I think is what cost us against that tanky Arbiter in the previous run. There we go. I think that's enough for the video. I'm going to work on getting Crimson Helm to 6-star, and then hopefully we'll be able to clear Doom Tower hard 10. Get that bomb all done. I think with Bomble out of the way, I can do the rest of the floors up to Bomble 50. And then I don't see any reason why if I 6-star this Crimson Helm, I can't do Bomble 50 as well. And then it will really be a question of, can I do probably Dark Fae 80, I think might be a challenge. And I think Scarab in the second iteration might be tough as well. So we'll just kind of have to go and see how we get on. So yeah, thanks for everyone for watching. I tried to answer a lot of the questions. I hopefully got through enough of them, and it was an interesting and engaging stream, and you guys enjoyed it. So, you know, thanks for coming, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.